Hey, welcome to the Business Beauty Network podcast where business meets beauty. I'm your host, Brandy Taylor. Welcome. I'm super excited to have you here. We have an awesome episode in store for you. I've been in this industry for over 16 years, and it is my goal to bring thought provoking conversations from business and beauty professionals to help us grow our business and expand our minds. And as I would say, it's not just lipstick, it's business. So we mixed in a little fun and we drop episodes on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You can also subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Google, Spotify, anywhere that you listen to your podcast as well. So make sure you check us out there and listen to it and subscribe there. Also, click the bell in YouTube so that you don't miss an upload. You also want to make sure that you check out our podcast on our website at businessbeautynetwork.com. You can email us at hello@businessbeautynetwork.com. We are super excited to have you a part of this community. And here is today's episode.
Karen Hardy is a 35-year veteran of the beauty industry and a successful salon owner who transformed her business from a struggling enterprise to a seven-figure powerhouse. Her salon ranked number one in her small town and was recognized among North America's top 200 fastest-growing salons for multiple years. With decades of experience navigating challenges and developing robust business strategies, Karen now coaches beauty professionals on how to achieve financial success and create generational wealth in the industry. Her mission is to share the tools and strategies that propelled her own business to unprecedented heights, empowering others to overcome obstacles and build thriving, multi-million-dollar beauty businesses. I think you're really going to enjoy this interview. And
Hey, welcome to the podcast. We have an awesome guest today, Karen Hardy. Welcome, Karen.
Well, thank you. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you for having me, Brandy.
I'm honored to have you. So, Karen, before we learn more about you and all the awesome things you're doing with your business, tell us something about yourself that most people would not know.
That most people wouldn't know. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Gosh, I'm kind of an open book, so I don't really know if I have anything that's like kind of like hidden. But things that people
Or share a fun fact.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Or share a fun fact about yourself.
Fun fact about myself is that I really love being in my church for one thing and being able to serve in that respect. But the biggest thing that I would say is that taking adventures and going on vacations, like just getting out of the norm of what we do every day in our lives and being able to see the world in a different lens, actually, like being able to like see all the possibilities. Like when you're on vacation, so many times it's open, right? And so like we get to open up to a new world and just really see the possibilities that are out there. Like I love dreaming. I love seeing what's possible, what's big. And when I'm on vacation, like I can see that so much clearer.
I love that for sure. So tell us your beauty story. Like, how did you get into this industry?
Oh gosh. So definitely a veteran, been around 35 years. Always knew from the time I was a little girl that I wanted to do hair, and I knew I wanted to own my own salon. So I went half day to high school, half day to vocational school, and got my license. I was actually working in the salon before I even graduated from high school, and so it kind of like I just knew from the time I was little that that's what I wanted to do. And so I opened up my salon at 23, and I had a busy year in 1994. My husband and I got married in that May, and then October I opened up my salon. And it's been a journey, exciting. Also, you definitely, the highs, the lows, the valleys, the wins, the relationships that you build, and just being able to see all of that, right? But I love, and I literally still like, so today, fast forward, I still have my salon 30 years later, and and I love it. And I'm still behind the chair like 2 days a week, like 10 hours a week, because I love the industry. Like I love what I get to do. And so I coach other salon owners and hairdressers how to build their business to create six figures, bust through those glass ceilings of the revenue that they want to make and create $1 million to generational wealth. Like really being able to use our business to create generational wealth and leave a legacy to our family. That is something that is so dear to my heart. Especially right now, there's so many individuals that are like maybe ready to step back, but not sure how to do it, right? Because our industry is different than it was 30 years ago when I've got my salon. It's different how we can sell our businesses. And so often, like, we don't think that far ahead, and we get to that point that we can, and it's like, now what do I do? Because I can't, right? So I love being able to like step into that position and helping others see what is possible and how you can turn things around and create the life that you really want, even past when we're doing what we do.
Yes. Starting at 23, though, you opened a salon at 23. So you've been in it quite a long time. But
Mhm.
kind of take us back to 23. Like, what was that like starting your own salon? Was it scary? Managing other people? Like, kind of take us through the journey a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely was scary. Like 23, all my employees were older than me. So that
Wow.
was kind of like, and that was the whole thing too, like stepping into something that, I knew from the time I was little. I had a dream that I was going to own my own salon. The name was given to me in my dream. So that was the name. And going into that, not knowing anything, but like when you're 23, you think the world, like you can do anything you want and nothing's going to come against you. Right. And it was eye opening, right? Because I knew what I wanted to create, and I knew how I wanted to make a difference, not just in my business, but people around me and things like that. But you're definitely coming against things that you didn't know, right? Didn't know how to run a business, didn't know what I was going to do, how I was going to be able to create the money, and just kind of like winged it for several years, trust me. And it wasn't until finally, like, missing out on so much, like with my family. Like, it took 10 years to have my first daughter. And so it wasn't until like I missed her first steps that I was like, okay, something's got to change and give.
Wow. Yeah. That's a big thing. This industry can consume you. It could be, a lot coming in, and you're getting people prepared for whatever events they have in their life, but we forget, like, we're behind the chair, so we're missing out on things in our life.
Yeah, and you do. And and definitely I think this next generation of beauty professionals are setting themselves up better for success in that respect, right? Like, so like when I started, it was like, yeah, hustle and grind, hustle and grind. Like, you got to work. And I was working 80 hours behind the chair. And, that, yeah, success in in the realm of financial, like, we were doing well, but at what cost? That was the whole thing for me. It was like, it was at that moment, I remember my husband calling me and sharing that our daughter took her first steps. And I was excited for him. But at that same moment, like, I was crushed because I was there doing hair, right? Like, I was there doing something for somebody else and missing out that moment. And I realized then, it was like, okay, like, something's got to change. I knew I was created to be an amazing mom, a wife, and a business owner. And I know I can have both. Others are doing it, and I need to learn how to do it. And at that moment, it was like, all right, we got to change this. Something's got to give. And that's when I actually hired my first business coach.
Awesome. I was going to ask you, like, what contributed to the change also. And so you got a business coach, but also you you know now you're still in business, you're still running. What would you say shifted for you in your business once you got, mentors and helps? How do you feel that you were able to become a real business and really shift it? Because what we were discussing earlier, you were saying, like, they don't teach you business in cosmetology school, and we come out, we have these gifts and talents, and we know how to use those, and we're trained and licensed to be an expert, but nobody teaches us business, right? So when do you feel like you learned it, and what are some things that helped you along the way in building this business?
Well, I definitely think, like, in the beginning stages, like, a lot of things, I mean, for me, I've always kind of looked at business, not always necessarily, especially as the time went on, like, not necessarily as the way that our industry looks at it, right? Because business is business. And I always knew, like, you need to be able to get the customers that you want and be able to give them experience that no one else has given, so that you stand out. Because let's face it, there was, salon. I came from a very rural area where my salon is, like, literally still today. There's only like 2,300 residents in it. On the outskirts, it's really grown a lot, right? But it was really being able to stand out from others, right? And so, it was trial and tribulation, but I knew that I needed to do something different in that respect, right? So it was like, how was I going to make my business stand out different from others? When I hired my first business coach, it was really the systems that they helped me put in place because I didn't have any. Like I was just really winging it. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Yeah, we were making a lot of money, but there was a lot of money going out. Um, not even, just really being able to set the business up so that it was successful later, even not just today. And so that made a huge difference, being able to get the systems in place, but then also making a strategic plan for me always, and my business always, like the name of my salon, the people, and it was always on the lips of everybody that was in the area, right? So that was like really important to be able to do that. And you just can't just say, oh, this is what I'm going to do. You have to have a plan. And I feel like in anything that we do, we need to have a plan and a timeline of how we want to create it, because if not, it just keeps flying by. Like time just goes. I'm sure everybody else feels that way
Yeah,
too.
I
Like this
understand.
summer's coming
Yeah,
to
you definitely have to have a plan for sure. So tell us like some of the systems that you implemented to shift your business. Kind of share that with us.
gosh, I can remember. So, and most salon owners that were commission-based salon, like you're looking at what everybody else did to figure out what it is we should do, right? Like that's the biggest mistake we all can ever make because
Right.
everybody's different, right?
Call the salon down the street.
Yeah, right. And I remember sitting down with my business coach, and of course we didn't have internet then or anything, so you're doing it over the phone or however. And he was like, "You're going to have to close your doors if you do not change your business structure of your commission." And he was like, "You have got to lower everybody because you're never going to be able to create profit, right?" And I was like, "Okay." And I remember him saying to me, like, "You literally need to, like, they need to be put down from like 50%, starting at like 42%, right?" And we had the structure of that way. And I was like, "I'm going to lose every single one of my employees. There is no way they're going to take less than what they were having." And so that was probably the biggest, the scariest moment of the business, especially in those days of being able to even like walk that out and what that even looked like. And I'm so thankful on the other side of it that we didn't lose anybody, thank God, which was, like all in itself. But it was having the plan to even how to do it and how to share that, right? And like why we needed to be able to change the structure so that we could have the success longer and what it meant for them even, and how it would bring more success for them and their families. That was definitely probably one of the biggest shifts, but being able to create the systems of how to create even team meetings. Like it's so important. It was not to just have a team meeting about what it is that I needed as the business owner, or what the numbers needed to be for as a business owner, but really to step in and walk out what it was for them to have success in their life, and how I could help them be successful with what it is that they wanted to do, their goals. Because ultimately, when you're helping somebody else do that, you automatically have success as
When?
well,
Mhm.
right? And so it's just different mindset of things that, and that was probably that most people already know this, like we think that the business part of it is such a huge part of it. And it is such a huge part of it, but it's our mindset that's going to make the difference.
It really is. It really is. I absolutely agree with that. Now, you said you had to change your commission structure, and but what do you include? Because I want to ask you this question before you answer it,
Mhm.
and tell you why I'm asking. Because I think the industry has shifted, as you know, and everybody wants to be more independent. And some people may not like the commission structure because they feel like the owner is getting all the gain, right?
Mhm.
So I want you to kind of share like how that works, because I think people don't really get it, like what goes into it. And I do feel some owners may not be providing, like if I pay
Mhm.
you commission, yeah, should you bring clients in? Should you market for us? Who should pay for the products? How should that go? So kind of share your insight on that.
Yeah, so definitely it can be done so many different ways. One of the things that when going from, and I would speak to, like I still have my commission based salon and I have a salon suite business also, right? So when I would have somebody that was wanting to go out on their own, I was the only commission based salon in my area. Everybody else was booth rental. And so like you would build them up and they would want to go out on their own, because we all know that in this in this industry, most people do want to be independent. They want to have their own business, right? So if you're a salon owner, first of all, that thinks that you're going to be able to keep your team with you, you should be able to have a system in place that they want to stay with you, right? Because they can grow and they can expand and they can reach the levels of success that they want. But ultimately, we know that's something that most people want to be able to do to get out on their own. And the thing is being able to sit down with them, first of all, congratulate them, because you were that person one day too. I mean, you had to leave your business that you worked for to be a salon owner and to venture out on your own, but to be able to sit with them and really show the numbers and be honest, right? Because the thing is, like, when you go out on your own, whether you're a booth rental, suite owner, you get to incorporate all the expenses that the salon owner had, right? And then some, right? Because as an employee, your salon owner pays the taxes, part of your taxes that now you are going to be paying, right? Paying for the products. And I know a lot of different salons have different structures of how they make their employees pay part of the product back or all of the percentage back. That's here nor there, right? I could speak on both ends of that one for sure on that. But in the respect that, like, you may be making 100% of whatever, but you're going to have expenses. You're going to have rent. You're going to have all your products. You're going to have to now pay your taxes. You're going to have to pay your percentage of your credit cards that you're taking, all of it. Like everything that you did not have to pay that the salon owner was paying, where you thought that they were taking all of the percentage. The honest truth is that most business owners, most salon owners, even if they have multiple locations, even if they are a multi-million-dollar salon business, the facts are that the average is only 7% to 10% profit, right? There's not a big profit margin in it. And the sad part is that the employees are looking at it as if the salon owner is taking everything, not taking into consideration all the expenses, everything that it does take to run a business. And in order to be able to provide your guests that you're serving with an incredible experience, even just offering coffee or tea or sodas or whatever, right? That takes out of the profit, right? So often we think that, like, we're going to go out on our own and we are going to be able to create and make all the money. And yeah, you're going to bring all the money in, but the bottom line is your profit margin. If you don't know your numbers and if you don't know what it is, how much you should be spending in your booth rent or your suite, all the expenses, like how much back bar you're spending, if you are priced correctly, your profit margin is not going to be this big too. So it's really like, you go out on your own. Yes, you're going to be making a lot more money, but it's not really that. I think really in the long run, it probably washes out. Mm-hmm. There are some, right, that may, especially a hairdresser, she's making multiple six figures behind the chair. Like, it's so possible it can be done, and if they know their numbers, yes, they could be making a lot more money. Or if they're just someone that specializes in haircuts, well, their product is not high. So yeah, they could definitely be making a lot more money in that respect. So, and have more profit. So it just really depends. I think just knowing that when you do decide to go out on your own, that a lot of people will sell that you're making 100% of the money, that you get to keep all the revenue, and you do. But you still have expenses no matter what. And so the bottom line is you get to keep the profit, right? The bottom line is that if you are opening your own business as a suite owner, you should be able to still pay yourself as a service provider, setting yourself up correctly. You should still want to make profit, and you should still be able to pay yourself as a business owner. And the only way that you can do that is knowing your numbers and setting your business up in the formation that it needs to be done. But you got to know your numbers, right? And you got to be able to be legit on what you're putting in and things like that as well. We all know like that can go one way or the other, whether you're really truly putting in the numbers that you have, right? So yeah, I think that there's a false advertisement out there.
I agree, Karen. Thanks for sharing that, because that's the reality of it. Is you're going to get all the money, but you're going to have all the responsibility, and you're going to have to pay out all the costs as well. And that's something that we fail to look at sometimes. And I see, like, people, you'll see them open up these suites, you see all the decoration, and then next thing you know, she's not in the suite anymore. And that's because They didn't know their numbers. They didn't understand their business. They were just so excited just to get into a suite on their
Right.
own. So it's very important to, know those things and to understand your business first before you do that.
Yeah. And like ultimately somebody that has a sweet business, I want to say, well, they should know these things, right? The facts are that most people don't, right? And
Mhm.
so I think that we're doing a disservice and just being just not honest when we're advertising that somebody gets to keep all their profit.
Right.
You
That's
know,
not how
to
yeah,
me,
that's
it's
not how
just
to
like
go.
it's false advertisement. It's false. It's only benefiting the person that wants to take and fill their suites, right? Or fill their chair, or whatever, however it is that they're marketing their business. But the facts are that there's no business that keeps 100% of the money because every business has expenses, no matter what.
Mhm.
And so, to be honest, like as a sweet business owner myself, like sharing that with your people that are coming to you, making sure that they're at a place that they're going to be successful, right? Because so often somebody comes in and they're maybe not built up, and they're the ones that are going to be responsible to take and be able to fill their suites, fill their chairs, fill their treatment rooms. You're not having somebody else help you do it in most sweet
Mhm.
businesses, right?
And that's
So,
the problem too. So people don't realize that. I talk to a lot of people get out in these suites and they're having trouble consistently keeping clients coming in.
yeah, and
And
they
and,
think
people,
it's just
and
going to come.
especially now, I would say the last year or so, I've seen a shift in the industry. And like the pulse is changing a little bit in the industry. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, there's definitely shifts in the industry, and I think the biggest thing that most people aren't taking into consideration is consumers are changing, right?
Mhm.
And we're not looking at it as everything, And when you have a business, you have to look at it in all areas of why things are shifting. I do believe that we kind of made things harder for ourselves in our industry. We came out of COVID from being locked down; we were in high demand. Um, People weren't able to get their hair, their treatments done, whatever. And so prices were being raised that maybe shouldn't have been as raised as what they were. Um, all the self care, and we 100% should take care of ourselves and have boundaries. I am all for that because I came from the other way it was. And I do believe that you do have to set yourself up for success with boundaries and all that things. But I do think that we took it out of line. I do believe that we took it a little bit too far. And now we're also seeing the repercussions of that, because this
Mhm.
is the facts, back in the day, I just had to be great at what you did. Like talent was the most important thing. It's not that way today. There's a
So
lot
what
of
do you feel you
talented
need
people.
now, Karen? Like, what do we need now? Because I know it's not just talent isn't enough.
It's not.
So how do you like? What do you think it takes to thrive now in a beauty business, like these
Oh,
days? Give us
I think
some
that
tips.
it's about definitely 100%. It's about the guest experience. We are in an industry, a service industry. We're here to serve individuals, whether people like that or not. That's on you. I'm not part of it, right? Like, but we are here to serve individuals, and how you serve people is what you'll get in return.
Mhm.
Meaning that your guest experience doesn't start just when they sit in your chair or in your treatment room. It starts from the time that they see you on your website, on Google, hear it from the person's mouth of who is sharing about you. Um, and I think that that's only the beginning part, but like also how you greet a guest, how are you speaking to them in your chair, in your treatment room? Are you educating them, right? Are you giving them something different than they could get down the street? Because being talented is not enough anymore. It's not going to keep that person there. And if you want to take and have return guests, which everybody should want, or else you're always on that hamster wheel of finding new guests, right? But it also starts from there, like even retail. Like, are you sharing what you do so they can get the same results at home? And what does it look like when they're checking out? Like, how are you setting them up for success? Also, it's not just about you with even just pre-booking. And so many people are for pre-booking, against pre-booking. It really depends upon that. For myself as a coach, what that means is that either you want to be able to, if you pre-book and you know exactly what you have in front of you, and that's the schedule you want to keep and the money's fine or whatever, that's great. if you're growing, if you book out so far in advance, it can hurt you, right? So it just really depends upon what's best for the individual, right? But it also is like, what does it look like after they leave? How is that guest experience still following? Are you checking up on them? Are you asking, like, especially if it's a brand new guest, like, how are you touching places with them after they leave?
Right.
So many times, like,
your relationships, because does that exist anymore? Because I've gotten services and never heard from the people again. Like they didn't
it
even
blows
like.
my mind.
I
Right?
never heard from them again. Like I got the email, the appointment confirmation,
Yes.
and all of that, the reminders to be there, your appointments, and okay, great. But after the day of the appointment, never heard from them again. Stay in touch with people. It's about building relationships. I agree with that, Karen. Like
100%.
we have to create the client relationship. Now, share some ways though, like how can we, you said something earlier about how you kept your salon's name, in the mouths of the people in your local area. So that's a part of your marketing strategy. And I'm sure, through your customer, experience that you provide and the overall experience, this would kept that going. But kind of give us some details on some tips on some things that maybe people that are listening could try for their businesses.
But nowadays, I mean, most people, let's face it, like Instagram and TikTok and all those things, like they think that's the only way they can advertise. It's only a tool. It's only one tool, right? Like there's so many other ways. And locally, it's different than when we're building a business online. Building my coaching business online is different than what it was building my salon, having a brick and mortar business, right? And so when you really look at it, how you want to build your business, first of all, you want to know who your guests are that you want to attract. Like I knew that I wanted to be able to have a higher end clientele. So I knew that's who I needed to like market to, right? And how was I going to do that? How was I going to get in front of them? And most people don't think about different ways that you can by, partnering with another company that's like a boutique that has the same ideal guest that you do. How can you partner with them? Like you're able to share. They could have a raffle basket, something, you're giving away something and they could do the same thing. But what happens is that you are able to collect that client's information, right? So yes, you have one winner or whatever, but like now you have a list of individuals that you can actually create a relationship with, be able to invite them still to come in. If somebody that's even new to an area, like what would it look like? How would you set yourself apart to be different? By going to every business locally and inviting them, introducing yourself to them that you're a new business owner, you're a new stylist, a nail tech, an esthetician that's in the area, and invite them to come in to see you. Especially a business owner, like, oh my gosh, like going into them and say, I would love to have you come in. Let me give you a manicure or pedicure, because the way that you treat them, how they have experienced you already just this far, like how many people are they going to tell? It's all about creating those moments and getting in front of people and inviting them in. Often we want to stay in the salon behind our screens, right? And not get out in the public. But like, think about the local communities that are where you're at, the neighborhoods. One of the biggest things that I did as a business owner was being able to partner with our local, like neighborhoods. They had like women's groups or men's groups, right? And going in and literally like speaking to them. Right. There was a lot of nonprofits go on. Right. So how can you partner with even nonprofits? There was one in this large community. It was a golfing community. They always did they always had nonprofits, but they would do a fashion show. My salon would go in and do all the hair and makeup. There was over 500 women that was there every single year. And they shared every single year that we went and did the hair and the makeup for them. We gave our time, we served them. We were, able then to, after the fact, to go in and walk around, talk to people, ask questions, whatever, just make relationships. It's about making relationships. It's about making opportunities that you're able to share what you do, and it's
networking, getting out there.
Yeah, it's not always.
It's not only social media. I always say you have to have like a good marketing mix, Karen. Like you said, you got a network partner. I'll share some things. When I was really trying to get into bridal, like I really wanted to attract brides and I wanted to build that for my business, I partnered with a couple of bridal boutiques. And so they would have like trend shows and like, cause she sold different, different designer dresses, right?
Mhm.
So they would have different, shows for the different designers. And then I would come in and share makeup tips or do mini makeovers. And that's how I would book, because brides need makeup, right? For their weddings, right? So that's how I would book people that way. Partnering with local boutiques. When I was as a makeup artist trying to build my portfolio, I partnered with photographers. I found photographers that had consistent clients that needed headshots and things of that nature. So if they got consistent work and I can help them partnering, I could get more consistent work. But just
Absolutely.
finding different ways like to get yourself out there. I feel like people only think that's the only way, and social media is not the only way.
It's
It's
not. It's
it's,
a
it's
great
a
tool.
huge thing because there are a lot of people, billions of people are on it. But it's a tool that you use in addition to networking, getting out there, partnering, letting people know you exist, but just really marketing and building your brand up so that when people think of whatever type of service that you provide, they think of your brand.
Absolutely. And that's the key to have the success, is that every time someone is asking about where to get their hair done, their nails done, the skincare, like you want your salon or your name to be on every lips of every person. And the only way that will ever happen is if you create relationships with individuals and you make sure that you're standing out. Like, what is it that sets you apart, right? It's not just about I offer tea and coffee and things like, no,
Exactly.
that's not even enough, right? Like,
Mhm.
how is it that you are set apart? What is it that you're doing to make a person feel that you could raise your prices 50% and they're still going to pay because of the way you make them feel? It's about emotions,
Mhm.
really. If a person feels that when they're sitting in your chair or in their treatment room, that you really honor them and respect them also as an individual and not just trying to make a dollar off of them, that makes a difference, you know? Um, we always say, like, oh, don't get personal with your clientele or whatever. Like, I am very personal with my clientele, right? Like, I've had some of my guests that are sitting in my chair today from before I had my first daughter for almost 30 years, right? How can you not? It's about relationships. We
Mhm.
are a part of some of the most important times of individuals' lives, some of the saddest times. They cry with us, they laugh with us. We cry with them, we laugh with them, we get to celebrate things. Like, we in the beauty industry truly get to impact this world in such an incredible way. And I think so often we take it lightly. Like, we really truly get to be the individuals that can change the world just by the way that we show up every day for
Mhm.
individuals. You know, the way that we show up as service providers, the way we show up as salon owners, the way that we show up just being in this industry, and whether you're an educator or whatever, like, there's just, we have truly a way to, we can impact this world, right? And so, like, when I feel like when we take hold of that and know, like, that authority, that the realm of that in it itself, and how we can make an impression and change people's lives, truly is a blessing to me.
Mhm.
Um, and how we can do that even locally in our communities and how we can make an impact. But knowing that social media is just a tool, literally, if you want to be able to grow fast, and that's one thing that, like, my salon was, named several times as one of the top 2 fastest growing salons in North America, it was because of those things. We always, like, even partnering with your chamber of commerce, like, what does that
Yep.
look like, right?
Mhm.
Like, I mean, my gosh, like, where we are, they would every month, a business would hold and host their, like, monthly networking event, right? So people would come into the salon and we were able to do, like, mini services or whatever, but, like, they were able to experience that. Yes, it cost you money because you were catering it and you went 9 yards, you had an open bar, and was probably the most fun times, right? But you're also partnering with other businesses. Now you can make relationships with them. It's not just them, but it's all the people that they touch, right? And so how you can get them into your business and how you can partner in those ways. It's just really thinking outside of the box and not just what is, like, in front of you. Like, think about bigger, think about how you can create um, a marketing plan so that you're incorporating several different things
Yep.
to be able to get
I
in front of
agree
your
with that. Now tell us, like, okay, so we know we got to have the client experience. We got to build our relationships, and social media is a tool, but share some ways that you've used the tool for your business.
with social media.
Yep.
Gosh, well, I mean, it's it's a great tool to use in the respect of even sharing stories. So often you'll see all these before and after pictures, but it doesn't even tell anything, right? So how can we be able to change that up? And that's by like sharing a story, like not just the result that the person had with their hair or their skin, but like how it made them feel. For myself, like social media actually came like way after, the years of doing. And at first, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to do that. But like, we really truly have to embrace it. Right. And use it more that people just get to know us as a person. Right. Like, I know for myself, like, I don't have this huge following. Right. And when you're trying to build it even today, right. Like the interactions that you get, the comments, the likes and everything like that, it's always more so on our personal part of our life, not
Yep.
right. So it's like being more open, being more authentic. I think that something that we see is a lot of unauthenticness on social
Yep.
media.
I agree with that. Let people know who you are, because at the end of the day, people buy from who they know, like, and trust. So
Right.
if they see your social media, yeah, they see all this great work that you do, but they don't see you. And I think we need to put more of the stylist, the more of the professional back into social media. Like, show yourself, not just you working, but actually show them what your personality is like. Maybe
Yes.
share some of your favorite products or whatever that you like to use, or you're getting ready for work, or maybe something you're going through. Share that in the stories. I used to share date night a lot. I was consistent about it. I haven't been in the stories, and people love that in the stories. Like, I just share on my personal because my page isn't about that, but people like to be nosy, so they would love to see what we were doing on date night in the stories.
And
But so
that's
you can
something
do.
that I'm learning more too, because that is the truth. So I have a 20-year-old and a 16-year-old girls, right? And so my daughter, my 16-year-old, she went big on TikTok, whatever. It's so easy. It's crazy. Sometimes you think you're like, oh my gosh, how's that
Oh,
happen?
my daughter too.
It's like, what the heck? I'm like busting my rear end and here you are, like just
Right.
And she's like, Mom, because you're boring on I love the truthfulness. Like, okay, so teach me these ways, because, like the fact, like what was, oh, we got to be so professional. We have to be this, we have to do that. We have to be this certain way. And when really, honestly, people do want to see who we are. But, in this new world too, of even like going from a salon owner, being still a salon owner, from like being able to really coach others and help them be successful. It's not about just the success that I've created, but it's, how did I walk through the walkouts? How did I walk through, not creating the profit margins that I wanted, or dealing with the drama of salons, like of having, a team. Like, how do we deal with all those things? Because facts are, like, it's not all glorious. We know that, right? Like, it's not all glamorous. There are definitely times that, you just want to be like, I am done. Like, is it worth it? Right. And so those are the hard times that I think most individuals need to be able to see also. Not that, like, it's not like you're airing your dirtiness on there, but like,
Right.
in the respect that, like, it's reality, like making the $1 million isn't a reality. Most people can't even fathom that in their business. Right. Or being able to create multiple six figures behind the chair in their treatment room, because we're at the starting point, or maybe we're even 10 years in, but we're still not seeing that fruit of our labor that we've worked so hard for, right? And so often when we're on Instagram or TikTok or whatever social media we're using, and this is just even personal life, like, it looks so glamorous, like we have all this, but we're not seeing behind those doors. And so I think that opportunity of really being able to be, like, let people in on things and being able to see what reality is, like, for so many even individuals that are just starting out in this industry, you see the success of somebody that is maybe making that multiple six figures or $1 million in their business, but you didn't see what it took for them to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, like, knowing that it's a process. I don't care where you're at. I don't even care if you are handed over a business. There's still a process to get there. There's still a process to keep it and things like that. But one thing that I do know that is that the opportunities in this industry are endless, right? And so my daughters have never wanted, like, I never talked to them about doing hair. I didn't want my dreams onto them or my passions onto them. I want them to decide what they want to do with their lives. And my oldest is actually starting beauty school in September.
Oh, awesome. I know you're
And
proud about that.
I am so excited because the first things out of my mouth was, oh my gosh, you don't have to do it the way I did it. There are so many opportunities. You can travel the world and do hair or skin nail, whatever you decide to like make your specialty in. Like, you don't have to be behind a chair. Like, you can travel, you can be doing makeup, you can be doing hair, and you could, do a destinations. Like, you're traveling to all these destination weddings. Like, the opportunities are endless. And I can remember the first time my husband and I went on our cruise, this was before internet. So like, this whole other world you didn't know anything about. We went on our cruise and I saw that there was a hair salon. I was like, oh my gosh, if I was single, that is exactly what I would be doing. Mm-hmm. Traveling, doing so I love that like social media has brought that world to us to be able to see all these different possibilities and how it has opened up so much, and the sweet business has opened up so many opportunities for individuals. But knowing that like, just being real and authentic and allowing others to see even the struggles of how to get there. But because I think that so many times we see it as it's such an illusion often, right? That people are putting the highlights. And of course, we don't want to put all the bad, ugly stuff on there.
We don't want to make people depressed when they go on social media. But you do want to keep it real. Like, sometimes, like, I've seen people do it where, all of my clients are here today and they were cleaning up their suite or whatever, and things I do when my clients don't show up or my clients are late, just, trying to show the fun side about it. But the reality is they had a bad day. Their clients didn't show up. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And they're making fun of a bad experience, showing you like, well, I'm going to clean, I'm going to organize and do this because my client didn't show up today. So just finding, I love seeing stuff like that, but just finding creative ways, because it's just being real, because we know she does great work and we see her posting all the time, but she does have some days where people don't show up or things happen. And that'll also show other people that, they're not alone. Like, we all go through seasons in our business. We all, experience different things at different times. And that's just a part of it. And but then also, like I said, letting people know who you are, and you don't have to get too personal, but showing up, like letting them see who the face is behind all of this great work that you're putting out there on social media.
Like, what do you like to do on fun? Like, show one weekend of what you're doing for fun when you're not doing all the amazing work that you do. And just, a lot of people don't want to show their kids and whatever, but being able to just have a little insight into your family, into what you do for fun.
And you can do that in stories. When we talk about that stuff, you can do it in stories.
Yeah, like, it doesn't have to be on your feed, like, it can be all over. So, I just think that the thing is with social media, like, truly only like 6%, if we're lucky, 3 to 6% is what shows in the algorithm, right? So, like, knowing that, don't focus everything into that to build your business, but use it as one of the tools and really get yourself as an individual and your salon out in your community and be the face of your community. Make a difference in the community you live in, give back to it, be a part of, find out what it is that's on your team that really has a heart and passion for it, and maybe partner with a nonprofit that you guys can literally come alongside and help them also, right? And bring that community of yours to them and the ones that follow them, because it's like-minded. Like, if you believe in something and you value something, and that's what you would like to see in other people, like, then your people follow, right? Like, then your people come, right? But you got to be able to look at it differently and not just what is in it for me. I'm going to do this because it's going to build my business. It's going to bring the people to me, but really look at it in the respect of what is it that I can do to benefit the community, to really give back to where your business is in a positive way. And so when you do those things, I truly believe that then the good comes to you also, and it comes back to you. But you got to know who it is that you want to attract, and not be like, oh, I just want to do everybody. Especially when we're starting out, we think that way. I want to do everybody. No, don't think of it like, still be strategic. Know who it is that at the end result, who it is that you want to be working with, and the type of people that you want to encounter with, right? Because those are who you will be attracting. Those friends of theirs, those will be attracting. So if that's not what you're wanting, then don't settle even in the beginning. It's worth
Mhm.
working a little bit harder or waiting a little bit longer to really have the results that you want.
I agree for sure, for sure. Now, what do you feel about multiple streams of income? Like, what are some ways? Because we have to be able to make money not just behind the chair, but what are some other ways that we can have multiple streams? 'Cause I feel like all entrepreneurs should have multiple streams, but as beauty professionals, what are some things that we could do?
Gosh, I think multiple streams of income is the smartest thing to ever do. I don't think that we should put all of our eggs in one basket. And I do believe that in this industry, we're missing out on some things, meaning even retail. Like,
Mhm.
so a lot of individuals don't want to have retail in the salons because it's keeping, profits on your shelves and things like that. And I totally get that. But if you're not doing that, make sure that you have an online store. And the best thing that ever happened for our industry from COVID was that all of our other brands realized that we are the influencers, right? And so they have opened up those opportunities for us to be affiliates or be able to have storefronts and things like that, meaning online storefronts. And I think that's, if you're not utilizing that and you're not, taking and creating income from that, then it's crazy, right? Because it's so easy. Like our people, and with social media, like it doesn't matter where the individuals live, they can order from you anywhere, right? But so definitely multiple streams of income. I think just investing wisely is really important. Investing in real estate was a big thing for me because I knew I couldn't go wrong there. So let me just speak to salon owners at this moment, like renting your building forever, right? And not owning your real estate of that building. If you could own your building, it would make such a difference, right? I've come in contact with so many individuals that are ready to exit, right? Retire, whatever. But when they go to sell their business, they really have nothing to sell because let's face it, you can't sell your clientele and you
Mhm.
can't sell your employees. What you're left with is your used furniture and the product that still sits on your shelves. And if you're lucky, what are you going to walk away with? $100,000 that you've worked your rear end off for. You gave it all of your heart to build this amazing business. But because you've rented a building for 20, 30 years, 15 years, whatever it is, and you go to sell your business, you're really, I mean, like anybody that's a smart business person knows that they're not going to come in and buy your business that's used furniture and just some product on the shelf because
Mhm.
they can't keep them. The employees aren't going to stay, or they will stay, but like who knows, right? And your clientele, maybe they're not going to like that person and they're not going to stay. So like a good business person knows that nowadays, right? It's, before you could go in and you could buy a business and it was good, right? Nowadays it's not the same way, but when you own your building, the difference that makes, you could literally sell the whole entire thing. That's a business plan there. That's a good business plan. Or you decide to just rent it out and let somebody else take over, right? Now you're creating passive income monthly because you rented it out. It gives you opportunities. And if you're not thinking of the future, that's one way to think of it. Like I knew for myself, like owning my business for mine was for retirement was a game changer, right? Like I knew that I probably wouldn't be as disciplined as I needed to save, but I knew that was my way of doing it. And I knew I could rent it out. Now, since then, of when I've owned it, like when I decided it for the salon, it's changed because now I do have a salon suite business in it where we've converted it into salon suites, but I also have my salon still in it. So for all the salon owners that think that the suite business is taking all the business, they're not. I literally still have my salon, my commission-based salon. Not everybody wants to be a business owner, nor
Mhm.
should everybody be a business owner, right? And so
Exactly.
you can still help those individuals, right? Be what, start out or that don't want to, right? And you have that opportunity still in your salon. And then you can also come alongside the other individuals and help them be successful, right? But changing that business structure that we did, that was a game changer for passive income because, for one thing, it changed even the value of my business building, then to renting it out as just one salon to renting it out as suites. Like it 5 times the amount of rent that I would get just renting it out as a salon to renting it out as suites. And so for me, that was generational wealth there. Didn't matter whether my daughters did hair or not. That was a business that they could run and it could be passed down to generation. and help
And
others.
I love that, like creating generational wealth, because so many times you don't hear about a lot of retirements in our industry, if you know what I
Right.
mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we want to get to the point. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and we are needed, and we make differences in people's lives. And so we want to create generational wealth. So I love the way you still have your salon, but you had suites built out so
Mm-hmm.
that you can make multiple your own salon, make you multiple streams of income within it, renting out your space. But you
Right.
also still have this commission-based salon. I think it's amazing.
Well, and the facts are that like I saw what the industry was doing. Like after COVID, we lost like half of our team. Like $1 million walked right out because they had to stay home and teach their kids, right? And so when we all know that so many individuals left the industry, right? And it was at that moment I was like, do I want to rebuild again or not? And I knew that I really didn't want to do that because I was more on like that retirement end that I wanted to be on. And it was at that moment, like I had to get serious. I had to figure out what it was that I wanted to do and how I still could impact the industry and the community that I lived in and still provide for my family. And that's when I was like, this is what I'm going to do. Like, I know this is what the industry is doing. And there's no one in my area that's doing this. And I know that I can do it a different way that can make an impact and be positive. Because, you can see the different ways that there's bigger corporations that are doing it. Some are doing it great. Some aren't. That's here nor there. Right. But I knew how I could create it to be different, because the biggest thing that everybody that would be in suites or even a booth rental, but it wasn't as a team feel, and how can you make that different? And that was something that I knew that I wanted to be able to create it so that it still felt like a family. We still could support each other and help each other be successful. And so that's when I actually, it wasn't until 2022, like 2021, that's when I made that shift finally to say, okay, like this is what I want to do. My husband was like, there's no way, like you have to rebuild it. And I'm like, oh, you can rebuild it. He has nothing to do with hair. He just is my supporter. But I was like, you can rebuild it. And he's like, I can't. And I was like, exactly. So we're going to do it this way. And I had no idea. It was a chance, right? It's actually the biggest blessing that I ever did in the respect of being able to create it long-term, what it looks like for future generations to come, and just being able to impact our industry and help others be successful what they do. Like just for me, like that's something that whether they're in my salon or in my suites, right? Like if I can help somebody be successful and create what they want, that's what I'm here for.
Yes, I think that is an awesome shift you made. And also, you could even, if you decided not to have your salon space, you could build that out to more suites and just only have the suites in there.
Exactly. It really doesn't matter either way. And you just get to it. I can't stress enough the amount of difference like owning the real estate makes, and how really looking at it for anybody that's in business. And I don't care if you're a business owner of a small salon, one person chair like yourself, or 20, right? But when we look at our businesses, like we'll all say, oh, I'm a salon owner, right? Instead of a business owner, like you have to look at it differently than just being a salon owner, right? Because we can keep ourselves smaller that way. But when you look at it in the respect of like as a business, right? Like if you want to create, multiple six-figure business, the plan, the strategicness that you do will be different than just what our industry shows. Like I wish that I knew half the stuff that I know today 20 years ago, 30 years ago, right? And how just being smarter with my money and where I invested it, who I listened to, who I didn't listen to. But the good part is that like now I get to pass that along, right? So like I love being able to coach my individuals that, come in and my coaching, that I get to share these things, like how to be your own bank.
With us, like how do you help your clients now? Yeah, share how you help your clients, and what you're doing right now. What are you excited about right now? What you have going on? Do you have any events coming up? Kind of share that.
Yeah. So, I mean, the biggest thing that I love being able to really just like come in and partner with individuals. Like, so I really just have 2 programs, for the individuals that are independent or a smaller salon that are just trying to get to that multiple 6 figures, maybe a salon owner that can't get past even 250, trying to get to that 500 mark. That's my first coaching program that I have. And then I have my others that whether they are at that 500,000 and they want to get to that million, but like they know that they have bigger plans and what they want to create, and they want to make that $1 million business, create that generational wealth. That the programs are totally two different ones, because the one I'm coaching to be able to, the systems, the steps that you need to be able to create even $500,000, right? Multiple six figures. The other one is that we're leveraging really, truly the milestones of your business and being able to get the revenue that you want to create, so you can get to that multiple, like millions, a million or multiple millions, but also what it looks like long term, creating that generational wealth, coming in, buying the real estate. I help, I have a few girls right now that were actually building out their salon suite buildings, right? Because that's what they wanted to do. And so I love coming alongside somebody, helping them find that real estate, helping them, the steps to be able to create it, what it looks like, laying it out. It's so much fun, right? And so, but those are my two programs. So I have like my 6 figures that you want to be able to create to my $1 million planned, right? And so like being able to work with somebody that way. And then, so it will be launching. It's launching the end of this month, where I'm just going to be able to really, I have a $1 million beauty business blueprint webinar that I will be inviting everybody to. So like Brandy will be sharing a free gift that I have for you guys to create that, to unlock the secrets to create that multiple 6 figure to $1 million business, and what that looks like, and how it is in this ebook. It actually gives you even your numbers that you need to know so that you can be profitable, right? Mm-hmm. The steps that you need to know so that you can be successful. But you'll get the invite also then to the webinar to be able to come on in and really be able to get a strategic plan that's going to help you. It's a day intensive where it's like not one-on-one, of course, right? But literally you'll be able to create your plan so that the end of the year, you're going to hit your numbers. The biggest thing is that so often, like, we have these big dreams every year, right? The end of the year, I want to make this. And then we get to the end of the year and we're still not at our goals. Mm-hmm. So I like to invite everybody, like, what would it look like to truly hit your goals? Like, if you want to take and make multiple 6 figures behind your chair in your treatment room and reach it, like, what would that do for you and your family? Like, how would it change things, right? But also for the salon owner that's trying and struggling and overwhelmed and just, they're trying everything, but they still just can't get it, right? Because like, we're trying everything, but we don't have a plan laid out. What would it look like to really literally have like a plan laid out, to know the milestones and the things that you need to hit in order to create that result? And what it looks like when you're not there, how can you take a step back so that you can realign what it is that you need to do so that you reach those goals? Because the thing is, like, if I've done it, 23-year-old Karen that had no clue how to run a business, didn't know what I was doing at all. If I can do it, anybody can do it. It just really takes a mentor, somebody that's already done it before you, whether it would be me or somebody else, right? But knowing that that person created the results, walked the shoes, right? Makes a difference. Like, right. You don't know where you're going if you've never seen it, but somebody else that has seen it, they can guide you through it. We're all going to have like things to overcome and obstacles. But the thing is, when you walk with somebody else, they can help you through it faster.
Yeah, exactly. So Karen, what would you say the biggest lesson you've learned thus far on your entrepreneurial journey?
Put myself out there, for one thing, and get into different rooms. The thing is, like, we stay in our own little circle and we don't see what's possible, right? Even though Instagram tells us and TikTok and all that stuff, but like, literally, like, putting yourself in a room that you're the smallest person. Meaning that when we are in rooms that we are like the smartest person, know the most, we're not growing, right? But when we're in a room of other entrepreneurs that aren't in our industry, and that's where I knew that's my growth always happens when I'm there. Not just in our industry. I love our industry, but I'm talking like business, bigger things, right? When I started putting myself out and then into those rooms, it was a game changer for my business. Like, that's when I was like, I should have done this so long ago. but you don't know what you don't know, right? So now I know better, and it makes a difference. And I still, even with the success I've had, I still have a business coach, and I thank God for her every day because she has opened up new opportunities and a new world that I didn't even know about and things. Um, and for me, like I love it because then I just keep bringing it back to everybody else, So because there's a lot out there that we have no clue about that I
Right.
don't even know about, right? And so like I would have to say that's the biggest thing for me is like I wish I would have got myself in those rooms earlier and not think that I didn't know enough to do that. Actually, that's kind of a good thing, right? Because then I'm not the smartest person and I can learn from somebody else.
Right, right. Well, Karen, it has been amazing having you on the podcast today. Can you tell everybody how they can reach you and all of those things?
Yeah, so you can reach me on Instagram. It's Karen D. Hardee, Hardee. Facebook's the same thing, and TikTok and all those things. Or you can just reach me at my website is KarenHardee.com. And then you can also just hello@KarenHardee.com. You can email me. So like I'm all there. So you can find me. I'd love to, just even chat about what your goals are and help you in any ways that I can, or just say hi.
Yes. Well, we will have all the information in the show notes. Karen Hardee, everybody, make sure you connect with her. As always, stay great, and we're out. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.